So I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is Dan. I am a trainer here at Motility Software. And today we're having a little webinar just to kind of review some of the extra features in CRM, some of the kind of the newer features, as well as maybe some of the older features that you guys may not be familiar with. This isn't actually a full dive into the CRM module, but if you have any questions or want us to expand upon anything, feel free to go ahead and submit a case to our support team at support@Motility Software for anything requiring a trainer. If you want us to really do a deep dive into CRM or letter printing or email blast, something along those lines, and you want to get a bit more in depth on that, go ahead and submit an email to training@motilitysoftware.com, and we'll schedule some training with you if you'd like. I do want to point out we will be posting this webinar on our website here at the end of the day. So, if you missed part of it, or if you had a employee that wasn't able to attend but you want them to see it, we will have that on our website later today, and we will be sending out that link to take you exactly to where it's going to be on the webpage. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started today. I do have everyone on mute just so because we do have 25 people in here. So if you have any ideas or anything, feel free to go to our idea board as well. But again, your best bet is going to be submitting an email to our support team or to our training team here. So let's go ahead and get started. Today we are looking at features within the CRM module. And we are just looking at our demo system, our home screen on our demo system. Going to go ahead and open up our CRM and sales quoting module. And we'll kind of cover some of the basics here, just kind of a refresher course. We do offer full email integration in the system. So in the message center, the first thing you will see is that interface, and just a quick reminder that we can get those email addresses integrated, and our support team can help you with that if there's someone new, or if you want to start the process of getting everyone's email integrated with the software. And to do that, whenever you open up CRM, you will have a little blue and black icon in your system tray, and it's going to be called the Infinity Reminder Wizard. And if you open the Reminders Wizard, this is where you're going to be able to go in and integrate an email account with software. If you hit Add New Email Account and then hit Next, this is the screen where you're going to be filling in that information. So to expedite that process, it really helps us out a lot if you have that incoming server information. If you have any kind of SSL authentication, if you know that, that also helps us, as well as your outgoing server information and SSL authentication method. That's not information you have readily available. What you can do is contact your IT provider or whoever's hosting your emails, and they should be able to get that information to you no problem. Moving down our list here, we have our calendar that is built within the CRM module, and that's kind of split between two different calendar types. Our My Calendars, which are going to be your personal calendars. These are going to be the ones that you can use for yourself and not worry about anyone else seeing. These are going to be exclusive to your login. On the other side, we have public calendars, which are going to be visible to anyone who has access to these calendars. So it's not going to be limited to yourself. This is going to be viewable by everyone. So these are going to be the calendars that you're needing to share across your organization. And it's just as simple as right-clicking in here and hitting New Calendar to add a calendar to this screen. If you ever want to go ahead and add an appointment, you have your day, week, and month tabs here. And if I want to create an appointment for tomorrow, I can just click on January 23rd, double click it, and it will pop up a screen for me to add my appointment, meeting with sales staff at 10 a.m. And I can say sales conference room. And if I uncheck my all-day event here, I can actually plug in my times and save and close my meeting. And there it is on my calendar. Under our notes tab here, we have all of our sticky notes that we have within the system. That's going to allow you to look at all of your sticky notes that you've received in the system. This is kind of the instant messaging feature we have built into the system. You can send a note to a user, and this dropdown will have all of your users in the software, and you can pick someone. If I pick Rick Ford, say customer is waiting for you in the lobby. And that sticky note will pop up for Rick on his side. Won't really go into tasks today. Tasks are kind of their own beast, but we will take a look at letter printing and email blast in a minute here. That'll and I'll also kind of bring up our automation package that we offer. So these are the basic tools that are available to you on the Message Center tab. If you're familiar with the software, you're always going to be taken to the Message Center when you first open the CRM module. It's kind of the first thing that you're going to see whenever you get in the CRM module. So let's go ahead. We're going to move forward here and look at some of our features that are, actually associated with the entities that you have in the software. It's going to make up the bulk of our tools. And I'm going to go ahead and open up our contact here, Jason Todd. I'm going to go ahead and pick another one. Looks like someone already has him locked. So probably familiar with our entity screen in the software. And let's kind of review some of our tabs and look at some of our best features, some of our newer features that we have in here as well. One of the newest features that we have is the SMS texting feature. And if this is something you're interested in, we can go ahead and reach out to your sales rep and we can set up a demo for you. But what we have the ability to do is integrate a phone number within the software. And what we're seeing here would be if we had two lines set up. So essentially we're saying that we've purchased a line for our service team and we've also purchased a line for our sales team. And what this is going to allow us to do is send a text directly to our customer. So there is a little bit of setup involved. And the first thing that we need to do is on our lead info tab, actually the first thing that we need to do is make sure we have a cell phone number plugged in up top under the customer's cell phone number field. And then the second thing that we need to have set up is our cell phone provider. So we'll need to know your customer's cell phone provider if you're looking to use this tool. So, and when I say cell phone provider, I mean Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, whatever the case may be. So in this case, I'll say he is a AT&T customer. And once we have that information locked in, we can go ahead, use our SMS texting feature, and we can go ahead and actually shoot them messages directly through the software here. So a little bit of setup involved, and this is a dummy number that I have in here, and it's not actually set up because we don't want to send just fake text messages out using the software. But it is something that we can demo for you if it's something you think you might be interested in. It's a handy way to kind of track your messages going out, on a per customer basis. Really handy for the sales side, obviously, giving them reminders, asking them to come in, notifying them about sales events that might be going on. It's also handy for the service side to, reminding them of appointments, reminding them to come in, pick up their unit when the service is done. It has a lot of functionality, and it's something we've been pretty happy with so far. Yeah, so if that's something you're interested, go ahead, contact your sales rep, and we can demo that feature for you more extensively. Some of the other features that aren't as new, but are, good features built into our CRM module are, of course, going to be the unit preferences tab. This is something that will help you track what units the customer is interested in. And this kind of looks similar to some of our other tabs, kind of like our unit trades tab and our vehicles tab, but it is going to be a little bit different. So if I hit add prospect preference, there's basically two ways to use this tab. You can either plug in a unit that you already have on your lot if you know that stock number, or you can hit this button on that stock number field, and it's going to open up your unit inventory search. So if they were interested in, I don't know, maybe some kind of Dodge Challenger, maybe I could add that to their list of units that they might be interested in. The other way that you're going to be able to utilize this is if they're, maybe not have a specific unit in mind, maybe you weren't able to match them up with a unit that's already on your lot, you can plug in the unit type. So maybe they're interested in, I don't know, a motorized unit from, we'll say 2015 to 2018. And so on and so forth. You can add your make and model. So if it was a Coachman Freedom. And I can plug in the rest of my information down to the color if I want to. And then I can save this. Where this is going to come in handy is this unit preferences tab actually ties back to our advanced search feature up top. So if I open my advanced search, I'm going to be able to search by my unit preferences. And if I drag this over a little bit, I can see that this actually matches up exactly with what I have over here. So if I, wanted to see everyone who is interested in, I don't know, what's a good one that I have in here? For the sake of our demo here, I will say, anyone that's interested in a Mitsubishi Lancer, that's just one that I know I have, some people in here that have that selected as an option. So if I scroll down, select Mitsubishi, select my Lancer, I can go ahead and search by this. And now what I can do is, of course, that Mitsubishi Lancer, it's just an example, but you can really plug in any unit and it's going to pull up a list of matches. So anyone who has that unit on their unit preferences tab, and now I can kind of go through these people. Maybe it's a unit that I got in stock recently that I'm trying to sell. I want to see everyone who's interested in that particular unit type, and I can kind of work through my list here. If I hit OK, the nice thing is, and this kind of takes us to one of our other features, is the search results tab here at the bottom. So anytime I make a search, whether I'm using the quick search or the advanced search that we were just looking at, it's going to keep my most recent search results under this search results tab. And this is handy because if you're trying to work through a list of people, so in this case, if everyone who had a Mitsubishi Lancer listed on their unit preferences tab, now I can easily go through this list, send an email to each one of these potential customers on this list, work my way down this list, and it keeps them all grouped together for me to make it a little bit easier for me. All right. So That is the Unit Preferences tab. That is a handy tool for when you're prospecting, especially based off a particular make and model of unit. Let's kind of cover some of the features that are built into our lead info tab. Of course, we have our hot contacts tab on the left-hand side. That is going to correspond with our temperature drop down over here on the left-hand side. And that's going to give us, anything that we've added to on this list. And just a quick reminder that if you go to edit, add modified temperatures, you can modify this list of temperatures at any time so that you can remove the ones you don't need or add any if you need some more variation in here. The main thing to keep in mind is the only one that is going to interact with our hot contacts tab is going to be the temperature of hot. So any customer I mark as hot is going to show up under my hot contacts list over here. Our other tab would be our new contacts tab. And that's going to look at everyone we have marked as a new contact. So if that checkbox is checked. And then we have our need to contacts. So this is going to reference anyone that we have in the system that we have a callback date on. Whether we've gone past it or not, anything that has a callback date on it is going to show up on our need to contacts. Looks kind of bad in our demo system just because you would never want this many in a real setting. So this is really something that your salespeople want to be on top of. Make sure that they're hitting these next callback dates and getting back to your customers in a timely manner. And then finally at the bottom, we have our categories section. And if you hit the load button, it's going to boot up with everyone that you have assigned to one of these categories. So category is going to be on the lead info tab as well, and it's going to be highly customizable, and it's going to be set up on a per user basis as well. And if you go to edit, add, modify categories, this is where you're able to populate this list. This is going to be a handy tool for classifying your customers and your leads. Typically, the way we recommend using this would be to kind of categorize your potential customers and your leads by the unit type that they're interested in. But you could even get more granular, add make and models that they're interested in. And the nice thing about this is when you boot up your categories and when you hit that load button on your categories tab, it will actually give you the option to break down per category, see what customers you have assigned to that category. So it's a pretty handy feature that we have in there. All right. Don't want to go too in depth on just the basic features of CRM. I'm sure you guys have seen it all before, but those are some of the classic features that are used the most. And we took a look at that newer feature, our SMS texting feature as well. But let's go ahead and take a look at our letter printing and email blast system, which can be accessed from the top of your CRM screen. So to actually take a look at what we have stored in there, you can go into add, modify letters under letter printing. All right. And on this screen, we are able to, generate our letters or our emails that we want to be going out, and we're able to classify them as well. I do want to point out that we do offer a automation package, which if you purchase, we will upload a number of default letters for you here, some general letter templates for you that's kind of what we're seeing here, where, these ones are designated to go out to our customers that have been contacted. And what you're seeing here in the description, and I'll go ahead and stretch this out so it's a little bit easier to see. It doesn't adjust there. Yeah, unfortunately, it is a little bit cut off, but you can always see the letter name when you select it at the top here. But so this one would go out to our customers once they've been, contacted after they were originally contacted after 11 days. This letter will go out, and then 25 days, so on and so forth. We also have our not contacted letters. So, if they haven't been contacted, if they haven't reached back out to us, these will go out after 4 days, and so on and so forth. Now let's kind of, we'll take a little bit of a deeper dive into this, and we will kind of look at the setup of this. So up at the top, you're selecting your letter type, and that's going to decide where it lands on our menu on the left-hand side. Letter name is just going to be the name as it displays on our left-hand menu side. File name is actually where you're linking the system to your letter. Just a heads up that needs to be in HTML format. So once you have your letter template, this is where you will be able to link it. And if I open this up, you'll see it kind of links me back to my letter folder here. So wherever you're storing that letter on your server, you just need to point it to that letter. Email subject is a subject that will be in the email when it gets sent out, obviously. And then reply address, you can set up a default reply address that this will go back to. And you can also assign a quality control address as well to make sure that it's going out correctly. After print, this is really going to be primarily for letters if you're actually sending out physical letters, and you can designate it to print your envelopes or your labels after you send out the letter, after you print the letter blast. Over on the right-hand side, we have our send method. You're going to select mail for a physical letter or email for a email blast, and then you have a fastest option as well, or you can select all. Allow reprint after days. This is kind of to keep you from, going ahead and blasting people too much with the letter. We obviously don't want to print it every single day, so this kind of stops it from reprinting, over and over. In the middle, this is going to be the most, arguably the most important part, as these are going to be our filters that decide how the letter or how the email is going to be sent. It's essentially which customers are going to be picked up by this letter. So this one is our not contacted 4 days salesperson letter. So the first thing, and if it's going to be an email blast, this is going to be your first line pretty much every single time you create one of these. And this is looking to see that the customer has an email address. We're just saying anyone that has an email address that contains the @ symbol, we're going to include them. So that's kind of the first one. So we're including everyone with an email address. And then the next one under it is going to filter it out a little bit. So status description is going to look at our status of our customers. So we want this to only go out to our customers with an open status. And then status description date changed. So that's going to be, when we actually put them in this open status. So if they've been in an open status for 4 days, they're going to go ahead and get this letter. So that's kind of how you're able to set up these. They're primarily going to be driven by status. And then you typically going to set up, if it's one that's going to be based off a number of days, you'll want to enter, status description date changed if we're referencing our status. And typically you want to do between days after one time, and then you're going to do you're going to enter 3, 5. So anyone between those days of between the third and fifth day of being in that status description. So that's going to be on the fourth day this email gets sent out. Some options that you have at the bottom here are going to be show results. So what this will do is actually pull up a list of our customers that actually fit into this criteria. So if you want to get an idea of, how many people would actually be included in this email blast, I can hit show results. And in this case, I don't have anyone that was added in this time frame, so I don't really have anything that's matching up with this. Always a good idea to run this prior to generating the email blast so you can see who's going to be included. Just a good idea to do it in general. Also, you have the option to reprint the letters, or you can schedule the letters. And also you can tie this to your event notifications. We'll take a look at our event notifications in just a moment. And then probably the one that's going to be most helpful to us is the edit letter button. And what this is going to do is it's going to launch that HTML file that we're pointed to under our file name field here. And this just allows us to edit the letter and take a look at that letter and see what information that we're pulling in. So anything that is in brackets here is going to be known as a tag. So this is actually going to reference information that's in the system. So it will say hello and then pull the customer's name. And then it's going to say, our canned message that we have in there. Thank you for your interest in pursuing a business relationship with us here. And then it's going to plug in your dealership name. And then, based off the salesperson assigned to that customer, it will pull in your customer name and then pull in their information at the bottom to create a signature for you on this email blast that gets sent out. So that's how you're going to be able to edit the letter and decide what tags you want to pull in. If you want to add additional tags in here, you can pick from this list here, and it's going to be called Insert Merge. And then on this list, it's going to be all the fields that we're able to reference and pull information out of from the CRM module. So, if I wanted, to wish them a happy birthday, I can plug in, that birth date and say, congrats on turning this age, and it will reference their age. So that's kind of how you can edit the letter on the fly from your email blast or letter printing system. New letter is obviously going to pull up the screen to allow you to enter a new letter in this part of the software, or delete letter to close it. Or if you wanted to copy a letter, maybe it's going to be a letter that's going to be similar to this. You can hit copy letter to kind of copy out the fields that are already in there. And then, of course, at the bottom, you have your save button, so you can save all the information that you've plugged into your letter, and then you can hit OK to exit. All right. So continuing on with our letter printing portion of the software, to actually go ahead and generate those letters, we kind of took a look at the setup side of it. You can go under print letters, and this is going to be the form that you're going to use to actually generate this these letters or this email blast. So the first thing you're going to do is pick it off your list of letters here. So if I wanted to do my negotiating no deposit 15 days, I can pick that. Just have to pick my company number, and I can pick my employee that I want to assign to it as well. If I wanted to assign a specific employee to it, not required, but you can do that as well. And then really the biggest one is going to be send method. So this is how you're going to determine whether it's a letter blast or an email blast. So if it's going to be an email blast, I will select email only. And then you also have the ability to group the emails. So we group our emails so you don't get blacklisted by any email servers for sending out a million emails at once. So this is how the emails will group based off the customer or the entity's zip code. You have some other options as well by letter type, their employee, or by company number that they're assigned to. Typically, you're fine just leaving this as zip code. Well, the thing that you really want to do is always make sure that you check preview first. What this is going to do is whoever generates this, they're going to receive a email. So they'll receive a sample so that they can see how the email looks, verify that it looks good, and if it looks good to you, you can then generate the entire blast. Um, so that's kind of my recommendation, that you always check this preview first before you get ready to do one of these. And that is our letter printing and email blast in a nutshell. It is a little dense, so that is why we offer that automation package where we kind of do all the setup for you, and we give you those templates which you're fully able to customize, and we can upload those into the software for you. Along with that, we also are able to set up some tasks for you. Not really going to delve too deep into tasks, but it is nice that we include it with that automation package, so you can start utilizing these email blasts along with the task management software as well. So really the last thing I want to leave off with today is going to be, just give me a second here to find it, is going to be our customizations. So on the customization tab that you have, you'll notice that if you have this tab, you have a grid built in here. And this is nice for any information that you're not seeing on any of the other tabs that are built into the software. We kind of included one that is completely, unique based off what you want in here. So this was good if you have a script that you want your salespeople to follow through with, and you're tracking that information. Did you give them the tour of our facility? Yes. Did I get their cell phone information? Yes. And the nice thing is you can either have this as a free form entry, or you can, make your employees actually pick off this list here. So did I get their email address? Yes. And this is extremely easy to set up. So if I go to edit and edit customizations here, this is going to be the screen that feeds into our customizations tab. And let's kind of take a look at our columns as they appear here. So the name is going to obviously be our first column, and that's going to be the question that we're asking. And then on our responses here, we have the ability to enter our default responses here. So if you want to make it so that they're picking from one of these responses, just enter that information here, and you're going to separate your responses with a comma. If you want to leave this as a field that they can type into, you can go ahead and just leave it blank. And then you have the ability to sort the way these questions display using this sort order column that's built into here. And kind of like our other modules, if you scroll all the way to the bottom of the screen, you'll see a line with an asterisk here for you to create a new line here. So, if I, did you ask about credit? You can leave that in, and it's actually any that will be the default response if you want to have the ability to type into this field. And then when you hit OK, and if I go to a new user here, you'll see it automatically gets added to my customization. To refresh it, you can just switch between users here like I did just now, and that will refresh your responses that you have up here. So pretty easy to utilize. It's a good tool that a lot of people like using. One last thing that, so let's also, we'll take a quick trip back to our lead info screen. And this is also a newer feature. It's not brand new, but it is a newer feature. And that's going to be our sales campaign feature. So this is going to work slightly differently from your other drop downs. You'll see that my drop down is actually grayed out here. So whenever you see the sales campaign square, it's actually going to be a button here. So if I click on this, I'm going to have the ability to pick a new sales campaign. And if I select it, it will go ahead and update. This is a good tool, if you're trying to track, responsiveness on these sales campaigns that you're running. The other nice thing is you're actually able to tie an advertising lead directly to that sales campaign. So to set these up, it's just going to be edit, and it's going to be add modify sales campaign here. And from this screen, I'm going to be able to add additional sales campaigns. So if I go ahead and add a new one here, if I say, winter sale, you want to enter your name in the base column here, and then again in your campaign description. And then you're going to have a column that's going to allow you to tie it with an advertising source. So whenever you select this campaign, it's automatically going to pre-fill your advertising lead with whatever you enter as an advertising source here. So if I, wanted to say, this is tied to our radio campaign, I can do that. And whenever we select this, it's going to automatically select radio for my advertising lead. And then, of course, if it is kind of a limited event, I can go ahead and plug in my beginning and end dates. That's nice because it's going to, prevent you from selecting an event that's no longer going on. But if it's something that, is, ongoing, it's not necessarily an event, it's just something that we always offer. You can go ahead and leave this as the default, and it will always be picked up. And I'm not actually going to add that one. That is pretty much everything that we wanted to go ahead and cover today. I do appreciate everyone's time today. And if you wanted to go ahead and, ask some more questions, or if there's a feature that I showed you that you wanted to dig deeper in, again, feel free to submit a case to us at support@motilitysoftware.com. Or if you wanted to schedule some in-depth training with a trainer here, feel free to schedule that by emailing us at training@motilitysoftware.com. So again, thank you everyone for your time today. And if you got in the meeting halfway, or want to share this with someone, we'll be sending an email a little bit later today that will send you a link to where we're going to be posting the webinar on our website. So thank you, and everyone have a nice day. Thanks for joining.